Hey, welcome back everybody. Let's go ahead and do this now. So we have some vocabulary behind us. Let's go ahead and everybody take a look at our first branching diagram together. So I start out with a line segment here, everybody, and I've got some branches coming off that line segment and some smaller red ones underneath. Now what I'm going to do, everybody, is on top of those branches that I created, I'm going to put these telephones here. So you notice going from top up to the bottom, I have a kind of a really old looking phone, and at the other end of that, I've got this really new modern data phone. Then underneath that, I have my characteristics that I came up with. So maybe think about the list that you generated and take a look at my list. I came up with uses electricity. Now actually, everybody, with that oldest phone, that's when phones actually, we had telephones and we were able to use electricity with telephones to communicate with one another. An operator is not required. So the really, really old phone was actually made out of wood, and you had to turn this crank and you had to speak into it, and you actually had to talk to an operator and say, hey, I'd like you to dial this number for me. So after that, once we got to the red dial phone, we could actually dial the number, contact the person ourselves. Then we went to phones that actually had voicemail, like a miniature tape recorder built inside of them. So when the phone rang, if we weren't at home and couldn't pick up the phone, actually a recorded message would play, and then people could actually record onto that for us and leave a message. Then after that, we went to what's called a cordless phone. So this was still inside of a home or a business. You could actually walk around without being tethered or attached to your phone by a cord. You could actually walk anywhere you want. Those were called cordless phones. Then after that, we moved up to wireless phones, everybody. Completely wireless, which brought in the first generation of a simple cell phone, like a flip cell phone. Then after that, we went into what are called full data access or internet data access phones, where we can actually look, we can surf the internet if we want, we can make phone calls, we can take videos, we can upload videos, we can have apps on them, etc. Now, what's really nice about this, everybody, is that I can actually, once I have this branching diagram set up with the different organisms on the branches and their characteristics underneath, I can actually look more closely how, for example, a modern day data phone is related to that old red dial phone. So that's one of the purposes, the really cool purposes of branching diagrams. So let's go ahead, everybody, next and do this. Why don't we go ahead and look at the anatomy or the parts of a branching diagram. So here's our branching diagram, our phone branching diagram. We have first the primary line, so that thick, heavy line segment, that's called a primary line. Then we have our branches, and you'll notice, let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 branches on this particular branching diagram that we're working with. And then we have the organisms. So we have our primary line, we have some branches, we have some organisms. Then after that area, we have our characteristics, and you'll notice that those are in yellow on my telephone branching diagram. Now, you can also, depending on if you're working with a cladogram or, say, for example, a phylogenetic tree, you can actually add nodes onto these, and they have a special purpose too, but right now we're not going to work with those. I'll just tell you that, yeah, sometimes on these diagrams we'll see nodes. So again, everybody, we have a primary line, the branch, we put our organisms along the branches, and then we put our characteristics on the bottom of it. So what I'd like you to do is this: take a moment, pause your video right now, make sure your notes are all caught up to this point, and then we're going to start to look at another branching diagram after this. So go ahead and pause your video right now, and I'll see you back here in a few minutes, okay? Thanks.